Word porn. Hands off your wiener. Seriously, man, you don't want to be doing this. Think about how you'll feel afterwards. Think of the children. Seriously, man, put the porn away. Stay strong. You can do it. So welcome everybody to the Sacred Sexuality Project, where we help you live a higher expression of your sexuality. And today I am really excited because I've had a bit of a breakthrough in my own personal development, which I have shared with other people that has led to breakthroughs in their own personal development. And well, you know, what's not to be excited about that? So what I'm going to be sharing with you guys today is a brand new technique that is almost too simple and too awesome to put into words. Actually, never mind, no it's not, because that's exactly what I'm going to do. But to sum it up into one sentence, all it comes down to is learning how to let yourself feel what you want to feel. Because think about it, alright? All of our problems and difficulties ultimately lie in the fact that we are not feeling the way that we want to. The reason that we get into this state is because we believe that our feelings are determined and dictated by external circumstances. Basically, we think that we can't feel good unless things are a certain way. However, this notion is a lie. And this lie is rooted in experiences that we had as we grew and developed. So basically, when we were younger, we had things happen to us, and some of these things, they made us feel happy. And then other things happened and they made us feel sad. And then other things happened that made us feel angry or frustrated or afraid or excited. And what happened was we started to believe that our feelings were dictated by events. And we started to think that the only way we can make ourselves feel good is if we make stuff happen. But this belief is not true, and it ends up severely limiting our ability to manifest and create our own happiness. It creates a mindset where we rely on conditional happiness. Conditional in the sense that there needs to be certain conditions for us to feel happy. The truth is, if we find ourselves looking and seeking a feeling, then somewhere in our subconscious, that feeling already exists. Because think about it, alright? You can't want something, you can't mentally desire something, unless if somewhere in your mind you already know what that thing is. And in order for you to know what it is, it has to exist in some form or another in you already. So the heart of this technique is looking inside of yourself. Find the feeling that you're looking for and letting yourself have it. By doing this, you're removing the obstacle to the feeling that you're looking for. So for example, many people say that they'll be happy once X, Y, and Z happens. Once they have the perfect house and the perfect wife and the perfect job. Once they have all those things, then they'll be happy. They put this constraint. And what I'm saying is, imagine that you already had those things. How would you feel? And if you let yourself imagine it and you're like, oh, I'd feel awesome. Well, there you go. You just proved my point. You imagined that feeling, you felt that feeling, and you didn't do X, Y, and Z. I believe that when we get good with this technique, we can do that with everything. And we can start to live a life of unconditional happiness, where there's no longer conditions placed upon how we can feel. You can think of this as a process of learning how to live as if you've already arrived. So how does this apply to NoFap? Well, I've shared this technique with a number of my clients, and they've had some really positive experiences with it. So let me read you what he sent me in an email when he was recounting his experiences with trying this. So, just today I saw a hot girl and I had an urge that I really wanted her. I immediately thought, what do I want from her? And was able to recognize what I wanted. And what I wanted was passion, closeness, validation. And I gave it to myself instead, aka making love to the moment. And that's what this is. He went on to use this technique again. Here's what he said. Just the other day in the gym, I wanted this girl in front of me and thought, wait, what do I want? And again, I imagined gaining that sense of closeness and the feeling with myself. I totally reconnected with the moment and lost sight of her completely. Great tactic that more people should know about. So as you can see, you can use this technique when you find yourself being triggered and controlled by an urge or lust or fantasy with a girl. Instead of sitting there wanting her, imagine what it'd be like if you had her in this perfect fantasy sense, how would you feel? And when you let yourself feel it, just go with it. Just walk with it. And you can then live as if you are getting everything that you want. Because if you can feel it when you're imagining it, the only reason you're not feeling it any further is because you're not letting yourself. So let's apply this idea to masturbation. So if you've turned to pornography and masturbation many times as a way of bringing you happiness and peace of mind when you're stressed or anxious or bored or horny or whatever it is, then you might start to believe that that's the only way you're going to get it in many situations. And when we find ourselves falling into that trap, what's happening is that we are tying our peace of mind to that external circumstance. And the big problem with doing that is we've tied it to a behavior that has many negative side effects. So here, just with pornography and masturbation, if you find yourself with an urge, just ask yourself, what is the positive thing that I'm looking for from doing this? What is the emotion that I'm looking for? What is the feeling that I'm looking for? Find that feeling mentally and just bring it in, let it be, and roll on. You'd be surprised at how effective this can be. This technique can be really applied to anything. So imagine that you've got a whole bunch of work to do and it's really stressing you out, right? Just imagine how you'll feel when you're done with it, right? You'll feel awesome. And then you bring that in, you embrace that feeling, and then you go and do your work while you're feeling awesome. It's kind of like, once you get good at this, you can bring the feeling of vacation into your workday, right? So it's like, what would it feel like to be on vacation right now? Identify with that mindset, tune into it, and just go about your work as if you were on vacation. So some of you might be thinking, wow, this is really stupid. There's no way that this would actually work, blah, blah, blah. Well, there are some limitations to this technique. Well, the biggest one I can see is that the certain chemical changes are going to be hard to replicate just using your imagination. Okay, so, for example, you may not get the exact feelings of if you had just masturbated and had an orgasm, because that's a big chemical cocktail in your brain, and it'll be hard to kind of replicate that. But what I believe is that we're not necessarily looking for the feeling of those chemicals going off. We're looking for the peace of mind that we've tied to that action. And honestly, who knows what you'll end up experiencing, because I've seen people drink non-alcoholic beer and think it was alcoholic beer, and they got perfectly drunk. So it's really all in how much you can tune into and believe what you're doing. And that brings up another point. This is going to take a lot of practice and awareness to really get good at, to the point where you're living unconditional happiness all the time. So my suggestion is to just start with little material comforts, maybe that you are relying too heavily on for your peace of mind and happiness. So, for example, say you're a big shoe addict. You love buying new pairs of really sweet kicks. Next time you find yourself really wanting a new pair of shoes that are just super sweet, instead of going out and just buying them, imagine what it would be like if you did buy them. Give yourself that mental reward without dropping those bills, and just roll on. This technique is really starting to have a dramatically positive effect on my own life, and I would love to hear about your experiences with it. So please, on the comments, or send me a message or something like that. Let me know how this is working out for you, because I think there's something very powerful going on here that I want to explore and flesh out. That's my show. I hope you all found it really helpful. And if you did, I would absolutely love it if you could go to the link down at the bottom where the Reddit thing is and give me an upvote, because my videos have not been doing very well on Reddit lately, and I don't know if you guys are losing interest or not, but it really helps my stuff get shown. So if you think this is valuable information, going to that Reddit link and upvoting is going to help a lot of other people see it as well. But other than that, stay clean. Oh yeah.